Well, here we are. This is part 1 of 2 of my Chapter 7 review. This chapter has a ton to go over from start to finish, which explains the 2-part format. There is quite literally too much to process all in one video for me. As much as I appreciate the future of this game and what it's going to behold, it's important that we take a step back and have a look at what we've been through for the last couple months. The good, the bad, and the broken. This is for seasons 1 and 2, some of Fortnite's most action-packed seasons ever, lasting well over 6 months. But to understand that, we have to go back and see how we got here. This is the Fortnite Chapter 7 Retrospective. We started this chapter the same way we did the last, abandoning the current island because who cares about this one? Nah, I'm just kidding. Capping off mini-season 2, we had the 0-hour event, where in the midst of fighting alongside Homer Simpson, the K-pop demon hunters, and Italian brain rot, retrieved our 0-point charge from the Dark Presence in what many people consider to be the best live event we've ever had, leading us to leave the Chapter 6 map, known as Oninoshima, in a pursuit of something greater. As we were sucked away, we were taken to the Golden Coast for our very own Pacific break. And a break it did feel like. Chapter 7's introduction saw a lot of the usuals in a Season 1, but something just felt different. This feels like Fortnite. Not in the sense of running around doing dumb stuff and looking at everything cool in the item shop, but this feels organic. This feels like Fortnite going back to its true roots, with consistent theming around the season itself, and for the first time in a very long time, a focus on story. And I don't mean that with characters like Hope and Jonesy. I mean that in the sense that the island itself tells a story. The residents of the island were in the middle of the production of the next big hit film, The Pillions 2, an in-universe movie. And almost every single POI reflects that perfectly. Painted Palms is the main set of the movie, with these crazy purple trees and fake plants everywhere. Sus Studios, while not seeming like a big POI at all, being just a warehouse with a film set, gives us clues of what this film was. Four Fields is your luxury sports resort, and Battlewood Boulevard is your urban city, capped off with a movie cinema for all the movie-loving residents. Wonky Land is the stand-up POI on the map. It's our first theme park POI. Rave Cave doesn't count, stop lying to yourself. Humble Hills is your fancy American neighbourhood, and Riptides is your unique in the moment but quickly forgettable skate park. And our last location is Inner Loop Labs. Wait, what do you mean I'm forgetting one? I'm sure it's not that important. What? Classified and Inner Loop are the big lore points of this season. They both have crazy drops about new and old characters, linking our new villain to the last reality, known as the Dark Voyager. Both POIs are drastically different from one another. While Inner Loop is much more open, Classified is closed off and really isolated. Narrow corridors, a weird triangular design compared to the more squarish in Inner Loop. It's almost bizarre. They feel connected by being different. Inner Loop Labs didn't keep its name for very long. Very shortly after the season launched, it had its name changed to Lethal Labs. A big point in contrast in these POIs as well is their location. Classified sits in the southeast of the map, while Inner Loop sits in the dead centre. This also ties it into the story with its big key attraction, the 0 point. And with both POIs kind of having the same feeling, meaning and purpose, they both bounce off each other really well. Oh yeah, I forgot about Sandy Strip. It's fine. It's basically just an isolated version of the Las Vegas Strip, which if you couldn't tell is actually where the rest of the map is based off of. Although there is gambling in this POI now, so it could be the best of all time. Just saying. Anyways, back to Inner Loop. This is where the 0 point is held and seen in almost kind of full for the first time in over 2 years, and it's all part of the Dark Voyager's plan. The plan itself is simple. Rebuild the 0 point, become a god while doing so, and you win. It sounds simple enough. But come on, we'll be okay. We've got friends here, you know. We've got Jonesy, we've got Hope, we've got the 7? Yeah, or what's left of them. The Order has made her return after spending several years in hiding after the death of her sister, the Imagined. Turns out she actually got Jonesy's distress signal from the 0-hour live event. She didn't make it in time, but she damn well knew it was going on. But that brings up the question, if it wasn't the Order present during the live event, who was piloting the mech? There's also this weird looking visitor, which apparently has ties to the Dark Voyager, but he's a member of the 7, he must be friendly, right? With the visitor out for blood, we make an alliance, take down the Voyager, and we all go home. Who is also coincidentally the max tier skin of our battle pass. But other than the Voyager, It doesn't offer a whole lot. 4 out of the 8 skins are related to the production of the Peelians too, with another intrigue from the side. Kat Holloway is your pretty damsel in distress, Miles Cross is your generic action movie star with Carter Wu as his stuntman, and behind all of the magic, your laid-back chill director, Kingston. And aside from the Dark Voyager, your other original skin here is Karina, the island's social media influencer and journalist. The fan favourite here was definitely Kat Holloway, who was popular for the entire season. But to me, and I feel like a lot of other people, this battle pass was just a whole lot of whatever. They all represent film stereotypes, which, fine, makes complete sense. But the problem is, they represent stereotypes too much. They do it too much to a point where it makes the skins boring and forgettable. They kind of just blend in with all the other skins I own. I don't really care at that point. Other than a few exceptions, this is just not a memorable battle pass. The only exception out of these 5 is probably Kingston, but that's just because he does not look like a movie director in any way whatsoever. As for the rest of the battle pass, we have the already mentioned absolute peak Dark Voyager, but we also have our obligatory collab skins. But this time, they actually make sense. Our tier 1 was actually the bride from Kill Bill, who actually appeared in the 0 Hour event. Now bear in mind, I haven't watched Kill Bill, but I know people were happy with this collab. Plus it makes sense considering the fact that it was in the live event before. Everyone else was happy, so I'm happy. And for the final skin, we have Marty McFly from Back to the Future. He looks off. Fortnite really leaned into a realistic look for its collab skins this time, and I never got into it. They all really creep me out with how they're so realistic. They just don't look right, and scary is an underestimate. Just like the Kill Bill collab, I have not seen Back to the Future, so I am nowhere near the best person to be talking about this collab. But from what I've seen, the general consensus is that these are quite good skins, even if personally I really do not like the realistic look. This whole pass is strange to me. It's kind of forgettable, but also not. I remember this pass because I cannot remember it. I remember it because it's so bland and generic, and no, that's definitely not a good thing. Except for you, Dark Voyager. We love you. And that's pretty much the basic rundown on everything surrounding Battle Royale. And as much as these other elements have their significance, it is not, of course, the core gameplay. We've already touched bases on the core gameplay talking about the map, but of course there's always more than that. The thing that makes or breaks most seasons of Fortnite is the core loot pool. Like, yeah, it's nice if we have all these cool skins and a nice new story to work with, but it's not going to be any good if the gameplay itself is boring. And this is where Chapter 7 really stands out from the other chapters. Up until this point, every single chapter has had a generally standardised loot pool, with Season 1 introducing the baseline and typically a few collabs spread out. Chapter 7 breaks that tradition and has almost an entirely different loot pool for every single season. If I went into detail about everything that happened throughout the season, we would be here all day, so I'm just going to go over all of the key mentions. We got 2 new ARs, the reworked Enforcer and the brand new Deadeye. Yeah, Chapter 7 keeps up the same trend of the last few chapters. Red Dot's dominating the meta as usual. Now that's not to say the Enforcer was bad, because it wasn't. I actually really had a lot of fun using the Enforcer. But compared to the Deadeye, yeah, you're a bit out of luck. For shotguns, we have 2 main options. The Iron Pump, one of my favourite pump style shotguns we've ever had in the entire game. Great damage, solid pellet spread, and it sounds so good to use as well. Oh, I love it. And we have the Twin Hammers, which while technically is 2 pumps in one, functions like your standard tac shotgun. Now there's the question of if the Twin Hammers stand up to the Iron Pump, and no, not really. At launch, the SMG meta is basically non-existent. We have 2 options, the brand new Hollow Rush SMG, which is basically the Harbinger from Chapter 5, but with a scope this time, and hit scan. We also have the return of the dual micro SMGs for some reason. SMGs did become a lot more dominant throughout the rest of the season, with the new Flex SMG being brought in around halfway through, replacing the micro SMGs. Unlike the other 2, this thing kicks ass. After a few buffs, it had huge mag size, great spread, and overall did a great amount of damage. It could be used at any range. For snipers, we have the unvaulted hunting rifle and the brand new Vengeful sniper. This thing never hit hard, but I really did try and make it. It feels basically just like the Reaper, but it does half the damage. Honestly, the best strat that there was to run 2 of them, and you were literally the next King Von. And as someone who did used to run 2 of them, let me tell you, it was great. For utility, we got 3 big items and 1 forgotten melee. The wingsuit was this season's main mobility item. Yes, not that one. And was basically the definition of a mobility item. This was made for rotations and nothing more than that, and it exceeded at it perfectly. It always took you long distance, but you could always be hit out the air. It was an item you actually had to think about using. It was more or less a high risk, high reward situation. It also made for a funny shot in the trailer. Boss tokens, they definitely existed. You know those bosses around the map? Yeah, you can become them now. There was quite a few of them around, but the most common of them was definitely Brutus. And this actually lived up to Brutus as a character, because oh my god, these things made you huge. Sure, having extra health was nice, but you were ginormous. Traversing builds was an absolute nightmare using this thing. This thing was awful. Good luck fitting through an edited cone. And the extra health could have been nice. It also took the name way too literally and gave you a massive health bar above your head. The health boost wasn't even that major. It only gave you 50 shield plus a regenerating 50 overshield. With only having 300 HP total, it basically went to everyone and said, hey everyone, look at me! I'm a free kill. Yeah, this thing wasn't great. Our final main utility item is the self-revive. This guy was interesting. It was really good to have in team-based modes, but it was practically completely useless in solos. On launch, it was basically useless. It took 10 seconds to do one revive, which if you know anything, people are thirsty for those finishers. On launch, this thing fell flat on its face, but after a few buffs, it actually became relatively solid. At one point, it almost became a must carry. I'm looking at you, Chris. Not all items from this season were remembered though. A key example of this was this season's main melee item, the Forsaken Valblade. It was in the game for 2 whole updates, and then just vanished. It was basically the Typhoon Blade from Chapter 6, but no one cared this time. It spawned in at these random portals which made way too much noise. It was a big item in Zero build for the first few weeks of the season, but after that, no one really cared. Poor thing. The final weapon worth mentioning is the Power Hour exclusive 7 Cluster Cannon. Essentially a cluster clinger on steroids. It went far, was really annoying, and only had 7 shots, because apparently it wasn't clear enough that it was made by the 7. And that's pretty much everything surrounding Battle Royale. The actual mode itself felt pretty basic, as any Season 1 should. The core gameplay itself was an absolute blast. I don't think I've ever played so much Battle Royale in one season before. I kept coming back to Battle Royale more than ever, and I actually played ranked properly for once. But of course, to keep the game alive when it's a little bit more stale, we need something to spruce it up. Fortnite always has many different updates sprinkled out throughout the rest of the season, and this season was no exception. We got a ton of seasonal collabs and events. I mean, come on, the season was 4 months long and needed to stay alive somehow. There is a ton of these to go over, so I'm going to try and run through all of them as quickly as possible, but there's one in particular I really want to highlight. Winterfest. And if you're wondering why, it's because for once, we were this close to a perfect Winterfest. The cabin has returned again, with a brand new batch of presents as every single year does. But the cabin does work a little bit differently now. They made some strong changes to the cabin this year, and as everyone said at the time, and I'll say it now, it fucking sucks. In every single year prior to this, presents and Winterfest would stack up over time. You could log in on the final day of Winterfest and claim every single present that was available throughout. This was great. Not everyone can log on to Fortnite every single day of the week. Some people are very busy and even struggle to finish their own battle pass. Personally, I never had a problem. I was always able to log in without an issue. Since its return, I've had Fortnite Mobile, so if I need to log in, I always can. But that's simply just not the case for everyone. People aren't logging in on Christmas Day just for rewards in Fortnite. That's not everyone's priority. And some people really do not want to log into a cabin when it's covered in all this. Look, I'm gonna make this very clear. You can have whatever opinion you want on Harry Potter. My personal opinions on J.K. Rowling aside, I've just never cared for the franchise. But it's even harder to care when said collab is shoved down my throat and done fucking horribly. The cabin is filled. Harry Potter trinkets and music everywhere. A massive bundle in the shop with skins that, guess what? Nobody cared for. They didn't even bother to do popular characters from the franchise. They just took defaults, slapped them in uniform and called it a day. All for 1,500 V-Bucks a pop. And no one was surprised when it turned out that these were some of the most unused skins in the entire game. This is something I really hope Epic step back on. They need to understand even if a franchise is popular, not everyone cares for it. And I hope to God that these numbers prove that. Moving past Harry Potter, we got a ton of other collabs that hit the shop during this time. Miku and Sabrina Carpenter both got new skins. Bleach dropped on the 21st, with Batman Beyond the day after on the 22nd. IShowSpeed dropped on Christmas Day, and we got Pulp Fiction on New Year's Eve. We got Doc Brown to tie in with a Back to the Future collab, which was actually pretty cool to see in game, even if it didn't happen for another month and a half for some reason. It was actually pretty cool. DeLoreans would spawn in across the map and would play really cool animations after using it. To my knowledge, we've never seen anything like this before, and a chest would spawn in, bringing in back old weapons from Fortnite's past to the future. We got loot like the SCAR, drum gun and the pump shotgun. And speaking of unvaulted loot, we got all of the basics from Winterfest. Snowball launcher, presents, chiller grenades, a whole lot. Plus the first return of the Icy Feet item. The map got the standard Winterfest treatment, but except this time we got a whole new POI in the north of the map, Clawsy Lodge, one of my favourite spots of the entire chapter. It's cozy, it's warm, and covered this entire part of the map in snow. But this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Fortnite, just give us a fully snowed map again. You made such a big deal about it in OG this year just because you know people love it. Just do it in regular Battle Royale, please and thank you. And that was pretty much it for Winterfest. Overall, it was fine. It was generally a pretty average Winterfest, but nothing really beyond that. Had some cool map changes, sure, but it kind of fell flat with everything else in the game at the time. After that, we got this season's big collab, South Park. I have incredibly mixed opinions about this collab. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good for so many different reasons. Main one, the items just sucked. During this collab, we got 3 items, 2 of which were basically just reskins, one of which of an item that was already in the loot pool. There was Cheesy Poofs, which was literally just a reskin for the Scooby Snacks from last Fortnitemares, which are already functionally identical to Flowberry Fizz, which, by the way, Flowberry came back literally a week after this event, so what was the point of that? There was Kenny's Respawn token, which was basically a self-revive, but just more annoying to fight against. It essentially acted like the reload mechanic, but in Battle Royale. Calling it annoying is to say the least. And finally, the big item of this collab, the Stick of Truth. It was just a rift anomaly. That's it. The big gimmick here is that it would instantly shut the circle within 5 minutes, but it was so rare it was basically impossible to find. 90% of the time, the game was no different from usual. Sure, there was power hours, but you can only do them so much. It gets to a point where the game itself just becomes bland, with most games being basically unchanged whatsoever. January had some real bad play numbers and was an absolute drought. Many players were bored stiff, including me, and we went to go play other games. I'm gonna mention it as well, but the other side of this collab was the skins, and no one cared about those either. They did the same old as they do with small characters, just put them into giant mechs. Fortnite have never learnt their lesson over the fact that these do not sell well. Also, 4,000 V-Bucks for the bundle is pretty excessive. Also, what the fuck do you mean Towley is 1,500 V-Bucks on his own? The whole collab could have been done so much better, but overall just felt really boring. It went on for way too long, the skins were overpriced, and generally was just not fun to play. Right after that ended, we got Love and Legends. Now this is an event worth playing. As the name suggests, it was a 2-part event, part 1 being focused on Valentine's Day, and part 2 being focused on the story build up into season 2. Part 1 gave us loads of content, several of this chapter's new power hours, introducing a new variant of Cupid's crossbow, the return of the K-pop demon hunters, and an in-game live event featuring a rocket. This time carrying the Visitor, bringing back our second member of the 7. This also wasn't an event in just Battle Royale. Reload got quests based around Lantern Fest, and we also got a rerun of the Ice Storm live event in OG Season 7, bringing back another old face, the Ice King. As mentioned before, the Order and the Visitor made their alliance under the mutual agreement that something needed to be done. We've seen the Dark Voyager come and go throughout the entirety of this season, and this guy just kept coming back whenever he felt like it. He spent loads of time grabbing 0-point shards from different points of reality like it was nothing. And here we are. The date is March 14th. Just 5 days before the end of this season. The Dark Voyager used his ship, known as the Dark Harvester, to force the 0-point into opening 3 rift gates into other realities, containing the final 3 shards. There was Atlantis, some random desert area similar to what was already on the map, and the final gate opened up to the Ice Moon, home of the pre-mentioned Ice King, reality's greatest collector. Well, I think that's a wrap on Season 1. Talk about being long-winded. Capping off at 111 days, being Fortnite's 3rd longest season of all time, it really did feel like it. This season majorly suffered from its poor pacing. Sure, during events like Love and Legends, there was stuff going on certain days, but on days where there was nothing, the play count didn't retain. This was a season that basically went on for double the time it should have, especially when the core gameplay itself was so unchanged. And truth be told, we didn't know it yet, but Fortnite was really in a bad spot. Just weeks before the start of Season 2, Epic announced that V-Buck prices would be going through the roof, and little did we know that Epic was preparing for its second 1,000+ employee layoff in 3 years. Even if it wasn't clear to us yet, the writing was on the wall for Epic, whether we knew it or not. Epic were desperate for a good season to bring it all back. But as always, Epic had more tricks up their sleeve. Remember how I mentioned the Ice King was a collector, right? Turns out he's lost one of his most prized pieces, the former leader of the 7, the Foundation. And after hearing about the Dark Voyager schemes, he's out for blood. This is it. It's an all-out war between Team Foundation and Team Ice King. The Foundation is not happy. He wants the Ice King and the Dark Voyager's heads ripped clean off. But someone else wants the Foundation's head, even if we don't know it just yet. Season 2 Showdown. Oh, fuck, this season was so good. And here we are to witness the rivalry between the Ice King and the Foundation. You see what I did there? Both sides have taken station on opposing sides of the map. Team Foundation and the Seven are now based outside of Classified Canyon, now renamed to New Sanctuary, filled with all sorts of new 7 tech and being a new outpost for the Seven, something they haven't had since Chapter 3. Before we get to our other big POI, we also have Squibbly Shores. This is a new concept for Fortnite. It's not even a seaside town, it's a fish market, full of restaurants, a lighthouse, and yep, a whole lot of fish stick. Yeah, fish stick ratted out that Atlantis has one of the shards and now the whole city wants him dead. This is why no one likes you. And for our final launch day POI, we have Frigid Fortress, home and base of the Ice King. Lethal Labs was also changed to Dark Dominion. It's relatively similar to what it was before, but just looks a little bit different. But overall, these changes didn't leave an impact on me in the same way that Season 2's have in the past. No POI here is bad, far from it, but something just doesn't feel right. They weren't as dynamic as Chapter 5, but they weren't even as unique as Chapter 4. And don't worry, Chapter 6 isn't even in the conversation here. The map changes that season were that bad. They're all great POIs, don't get me wrong. There's so many teasers and Easter eggs everywhere, especially in places like Squibbly Shores and Frigid Fortress. This fish market's making me pray for this little fucker, and it's not even April yet. But with one fully brand new POI, another one expanding upon something that already existed, and New Sanctuary just feels like a rehash of what we had last season. And I get that's what New Sanctuary really is, because they are taking over the pre-existing base. But that disregards the fact that it feels incredibly uninspired. And hell, I don't even think that New Sanctuary is the worst case of this. Hell, as much as I do love Frigid Fortress, it is incredibly empty. It is just all walls and corridors, nothing else going on. Of course that doesn't disregard the throne room, grand collectibles, statues everywhere, but there's nothing really beyond that. Sure, the centre looks cool, but that's kind of it. So overall, the map changes are not bad, they're just kind of whatever. All of them are fantastic aesthetically wise, but gameplay-wise, they don't really do anything for me. With, of course, the exception being Squibbly Shores. The final thing worth mentioning is these boards, dubbed as rivalry boards. These will come important very, very quickly. And this is where I want to talk about something very crucial to this season, the rivalry system. When logging in for the very first time, you are granted with a screen. Pick your side, Team Foundation or Team Ice King. This solidifies which team you're going to be fighting for throughout the rest of this season. This means everything to the game. You can introduce brand new weapons, get actual prizes, plus this has a huge outcome on the game's storyline, with whatever team wins unlocking an additional style for their respective skin in the battle pass. But before we get into that, we have to talk about the loot pool. As I mentioned before, the loot pool is basically entirely different for every single season of the chapter. But with this season, there's 2 exceptions, and that is with the shotguns. The iron pump and the twin hammer stayed, but everything else had to go. We have 2 assault rifles again, this time both being unvolts, the combat AR and the Nemesis. Yay. Neither of them are great, but they're not impossible to work with. The Nemesis in particular, bullets kind of just go wherever they feel like. But it is far from the worst AR, I've definitely used much worse. The combat was just weak, I think hit like a baby and it never really did enough for me. That might be to do with the fact that this is the version of the AR from Chapter 5. So far, all the Chapter 5 unvolts have been really underwhelming. I wonder if they're going to do any good ones. Oh, they did. This single-handedly made the season for me. 2 of my favourite SMGs of all time. In one season? You couldn't make this up. The fact that they gave the Thunderburst SMG a fucking laser sight was unbelievable. They know how accurate this thing is, and they just went for it, and oh my god, I love it. That 3-round burst hitting for what, 72 per round? Oh my fuck, it was good. Regardless of what mode you played, this thing was a beast. This thing dominated at every single range, which is so strange considering the fact that it's an SMG. This thing outplaying ARs is ridiculous. You wouldn't believe it, but it's true. And of course, if you wanted a more traditional SMG experience, you had the Twin Mag SMG. If you're jumping into someone's box, yeah, this thing's great. Everything else, it kinda sucks. It is incredibly high spread, but that's because it's not meant to be used at long range. It's perfect for box fighting, but nothing really else. If it was the first thing you find off spawn, you'd probably be fine, but I wouldn't be carrying it into the endgame. I think this single-handedly made the loot pool for me, and that's disregarding all the other fantastic additions we got, including our brand new shotgun. This here is our final shotgun for the season, bar one I'll get to in a little bit. The Chaos Reloader, a 1 mag shotgun that automatically reloads. It was very high risk, high reward. in concept, but not so much in practice. Normally in an instance like this, that means that it was bad in all scenarios, but it was actually the opposite. It was too good at literally anything. It's got to a point where, truth be told, I think this is my favourite shotgun the game has ever had. It was so busted for the whole season, even when the reload bug was happening. It was also perfect at being combined with this season's new melee item, the 7 gauntlets. They weren't available on day one, but they did come in very shortly after. Essentially, take nitro fists and make them 1,000 times more balanced. I saw so many people complaining about these when they were in the loot pool, and I don't get what the problem was. People hated the uppercut attack, but to be honest, it was so easy to counteract. You could literally predict anyone doing it. It was not hard at all. You know, hear me out, maybe if someone's running up to you with something like an uppercut, maybe that's what they're gonna do. And to be straight up, people that complained about the 7 gauntlets, I genuinely just think it's a skill issue. The gauntlets weren't the only thing introduced by the 7 this season. We also got the Vector 7 DMR, based off the Foundation's Rift Rifle. This was an underrated gem this season. We didn't get any actual snipers, but we did get this instead. I loved using this thing. It was always a lot of fun. The scope is great, it did great damage, I just suck with it. It was perfect at opening fights from long range, but it was always really easy to counteract. There was always a slight delay when shooting this thing, so your best option for avoiding it was literally just to keep moving. Overall, just another fantastic addition to this season. I cannot complain about this thing. Team Foundation wasn't the only team to also be getting weapons. The Ice King was given his mythic gauntlets, which were definitely a bit more of a mixed bag than the 7's gauntlets. The Ice gauntlets were available from Frigid Fortress out of the Ice King mythic boss. He also randomly spawned east of Dark Dominion for some reason. And defeating the boss would drop these gauntlets. There is 2 attacks. There is a more traditional throwing attack, but there's also the Mystic Ice Bomb. It was slow, but very, very hard hitting. These things were definitely worth carrying in team-based modes, but could also be used very effectively in solos, in the right timing. They became a situation-specific item, but if you could carry them, it was always 100% worth it. And that's it for this season's loot pool. It's basically on the same level of quality as last season's, and I'd say whichever one's better is just purely up to preference. I love loads of things about this loot pool, but the lack of an actual sniper is killing me. But of course, the Chaos Reloader and the Thunderburst SMG are literally some of my favourite weapons in the entire game. I really cannot decide which one I preferred more. So, that rivalry stuff. How is that going? This is definitely a unique concept. I wonder how this is going to go. Oh. To put it into summary, the Foundation was absolutely destroyed throughout the entirety of this season. On launch day, over 200,000 extra people chose Team Ice King, giving the numerical side a huge advantage. As much as the rivalries were a gameplay thing, they also had a key part in how the season was structured. This season was broken down into 3 acts. Act 1 is pretty generic. It creates the foundation for the rest of the season and what we're going to see. Act 2 is a little bit more of a mixed bag. It's focused on everything that's not Battle Royale. It's focused on a newer faction in Fortnite, the Elites. We got a new map based around the Elites in Reload, but we also got something else. Battle Royale wasn't completely abandoned. We also got a brand new weapon and a new POI based around Save the World. On April 16th, 8.5 years after launch, Save the World finally went free to play. As much as that game mode got an overhaul and peaked at over 100,000 players for the very first time, we got the Super Shredder in Battle Royale, which is also an incredibly well-known cancelled weapon from back in the day. And our new POI is based around Save the World, known as Builder's Barracks. It's nothing special really, it's just a pretty generic fort from Save the World put into Battle Royale. It was cute, yeah, but it didn't really add anything gameplay wise. And finally, we got Act 3, themed around Overwatch. We got skins, landmarks across the map, and several unique weapons. I'm incredibly mixed over the Overwatch Act. All the Overwatch characters are fighting for Team Foundation, which yeah, sure is cool, but didn't really do anything. It really didn't mean a whole lot to me. They tried making this into a big part of the story, but it's really just another soulless collab in the same way that the South Park collab was last season. But I must admit, this was done miles better than the South Park collab we got last season. We got Tracer's pistols as the very first-person weapon in Battle Royale. They did good damage, they were really fun to mess around with, but too bad the cheaters loved them. This is where it's important to talk about a big problem with this season. This season was riddled with cheaters and bugs. During Act 3, it was every single endgame. There was loads of different exploits you could do with Tracer's pistols to give you infinite dashes. You were basically impossible to kill, and it ended up being a problem right up until the end of the season when they were vaulted. Epic put loads of warnings in for people that did cheat, including account banning and all sorts of other things, but no one cared. So you were taking loads of damage because of cheaters constantly. Good thing we've got some good healing items. Our other big item that was a part of this collab was Mercy's Staff. by far one of the best healing items we've ever had in the game. Remember what I said about the Cheesy Poofs being a reskin of Flowberry Fizz? Yeah, this is a reskin of the exotic Fizz. I swear I found more people carrying this thing than not. It was so common to find, but it was actually amazing. It had 300 uses for blue and white health, gave low gravity, and like I said, was super easy to find. During this event, we also got a bunch of old items unvaulted, including the rocket launcher, kinetic blade, even though it was broken for all the time it was out, and the shockwave hammer, and we also got a brand new exotic, the overcharged pulse rifle. This thing fucks. Like, really fucks. Despite having bloom similar to an SMG, this thing shreds at any range. And I mean it when I say that this thing was nerfed straight into the ground. You know how people talk about burying something 6 foot under? Yeah, they tried burying this thing 12 and they could only do 3. This thing was a beast in anyone's hands, and God forbid it ever returns. If it ever does return, make it as common as it was throughout this update, because oh my god, it was not busted when everyone had one. If this was a mythic drop from a random boss, then yeah, we'd have a problem. All of these were readily available from the Overwatch caches, but some of them could be found in regular chests. However, Tracer's pistols and the pulse rifle were exclusive from these. And who would have guessed? The Overwatch characters are on Team Foundation. God, this rivalry runs deep. It runs even deeper, going straight through this season's battle pass, except for you. This was a generational battle pass. I stand by this. This is my favourite battle pass within the last 2 years. The Ice King would be the first skin you'd get in the battle pass, unless you got your battle pass within the first week of launch. If you did, you would receive the Foundation early with an exclusive edit style, only available to first week buyers. The Order finally got a much needed design with a brand new suit and finally a decent haircut. Jules was also given a new look, symbolising Team Foundation's relationship with the Elite, training some of the best fighters across reality. Team Ice King got a few additions as well, but they're definitely not as strong. I'll first mention Dasha. She's okay. Yeah, she's clean, but she's very, very generic. Apparently she's an ex-IO agent who has beef with Jules or something. I don't know. She is cool, but she just feels so out of place. Like, look at this. There's all these cool characters in armour and suit, and then there's this random gamer girl. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? The Ice King also has Lady Winfrost, who kind of just exists. She was seen to be the Ice King's second in command, but never really did anything. She seems to be more of an army general that answers to the Ice King. Her skin isn't terrible and definitely is better than Dasha, but she also reflects the season theme incredibly well and wouldn't work in any other season. The elf hairstyle is really a nice touch as well. So yeah, as much as she does look cool and she does fit into this battle pass, I still don't care for her. Why do you even exist? Okay, we got 2 skins left. First, we have our obligatory meme skin, Squibbly. This is really unlike other seasons though. For once, the meme skin is actually likeable. Squibbly really is one of my favourite Battle Pass skins we've had in a very, very long time. All his styles are great, he generally looks very cute but sinister, and I mean, come on, how do you not love a face like that? Not to mention how much of a funny character he is. His rivalry with Fishstick runs deep after he revealed the location of the 0-point shard. And for our tier 100 skin, we have Bugs fucking Bunny. I mean, really? I get Looney Tunes has its fans, but in a season like this? Really? Take a wild guess what was the least favourite skin from this battle pass. But overall, I adore this battle pass. I get people's disappointment with this battle pass being 50% remixes, but for me, when all of them are better than the original skins bar one, I can't complain. And then again, that's only because I think Elite Jules is on par with the original. This pass destroys Season 1, and I really think it's going to be very, very difficult to outbeat it. Well, we've got all these cool characters. How's that story of ours coming along? Well, this time it's a little bit more convoluted. Let me explain. A lot of parts of this story are very, very confusing. We start out with the Ice King's castle coming onto the island. From inside the castle, we get a distress signal, and that's how we learnt that the Ice King had stolen the Foundation. How did he get him? I have no idea. That's the whole point of this season. We're trying to take back what the Ice King took away from the Foundation, but then again, we don't even know how he got there in the first place. We were never given an answer as to what this really was. Yeah, it's still a good motive, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make sense. The Foundation randomly disappeared at the end of Resistance over 4 years ago, and turns out he's just been with the Ice King the whole time? How did he get here? How did the Ice King capture him? We have no clue. Either way, the Foundation breaks free, joins up with us, and we plot together to take down the Dark Voyager. The Voyager is still on the hunt for the other 0-point shards. This is how we actually came across Jules. The Voyager was sneaking around where the Elite were located at the time, and Jules decided to hop on board his ship, and now here she is, working with us again. The story this season seemed very surface level. The concept was amazing, but throughout the entire season, it just felt very bare. It was like, cool, we're working with the Foundation again. but that was kind of it. There was other interesting parts about this story, no doubt, like how we learnt about the status on every single member of the Seven. All of them were either chromed, lost to Zero Fusion, or you're the Imagined. And as it turns out, the Imagined is the only one that's fully confirmed dead. And that was the whole story for pretty much the entire season. It took a really long time for this story to get going, but everything did make sense, even if for a lot of this season it felt very, very underwhelming. One of the last key things to mention about this story is the hint at returning characters. These are two characters with a lot of fan service, people have been wanting them for years. Dr. Sloan and the Singularity, both characters with ties to the Imagined Order. It's been really strange. First, one of the sisters is the key returning member of the Seven at the start of the chapter, and now we've got these two? What's all these IO mentions? Ah, who am I kidding? It's probably just a coincidence. This all culminated in the end of season live event, but before we go over that one, we've got a load of others to discuss. This is the part of the video where I would talk about the Easter event, but it just doesn't exist. These events have always been sloppy, but they went out their way this year to just not do one. I guess they became aware it always sucks. We got an update for something else instead. Something I believe turned out to be a much better event. For the first time in years, we got an update for April Fool's Day. Big heads, finger guns, it was ridiculous, but my god it was funny. They unironically made some of the best pistols in the entire game solely for a joke, and it's fucking amazing. Yes, they were busted as fuck, but everybody loved them. This was a blast. I genuinely cannot believe how much fun I had with this. And I can't mention Season 2 and not mention Fortnite Community Day. This was a really pleasant surprise to learn it was coming. Free rewards, the return of two of Fortnite's rarest skins of all time, and gameplay changes like all mythic chests and voted unvaults. There was a watch party for that season's FNCS, and at the end of the day, we wrapped up with our first reveal of Chapter 7 Season 3. Oh my, what a time to be a Fortnite fan. That last half of May was some of the most fun I've ever had with this game. Sure, Overwatch being the whole focal point around Act 3 was a bit strange to me, but that doesn't mean that the content was bad. Far from it. May really was one of the best times to be a Fortnite fan in a very, very long time. And then June happened. I really hope that everyone has learned their lesson by now, but don't dox Fortnite devs, please. If you look at the key art that we got revealed for Chapter 7 Season 3, you'll see this thing. I'm not even gonna name it. Now, having this thing in Fortnite is something I'm sure that nobody wanted. I mean, fuck me, the guy behind all this didn't give two shits anyway. But when this came out, I've never been more disappointed. We didn't want this, and I'm sure a lot of the devs didn't want any of this either. At the end of the day, all they would ever do is just the job they were told to do, and their lives got put in jeopardy because of that. And right after Community Day was just even more painful to see. The fact that the community could turn just like that in one day was obscene, and it made me realise, wow, no wonder they don't listen to us. But after all was said and done, it was time to step back and let the dust settle, as we had one final thing to do this season. Across the entirety of this season, every single act has been won by Team Ice King. And I'll say, as a fellow Team Ice King supporter, this was amazing to see. But I thought this must have been demotivating for Team Foundation. But that doesn't mean that Team Foundation didn't go down without a fight. And we saw that unfold before our eyes in this season's live event, Shattered. Oh my god! Fuck you, Sonny! Come on. Holy fuck! Oh my god! No! What the fuck? Fuck. Spirit sword! Oh my god! Get the fuck out of here, motherfucker! Jesus Christ!
Bro, what is this, One Piece?
This is One Piece. There's the broken helmet.
Your Foundation is getting its ass beat.
Now this ends.
The Foundation's clobbering us.
Shit.
Oh.
Ooh, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
she
funny.
is not coming back from that.
Sorry, Sonny. Oh.
Wait,
you actually got the style.
That's the style!
That's sick.
Oh, that is so cool. And finally, after a 2-month battle, Team Ice King won the rivalry race, and the Foundation is right back where he was before. But the live event isn't over just yet. We've got a few more things going on.
No way. The Ice King's dead.
John, do something, mate. Come on.
Holy shit.
Oh my god, look at the map. That is awesome.
Holy shit.
Circling through multiple reality at once.
Wait.
Find me. Oh my god. I have the Infinity Blade.
I have the Infinity Blade too. Yo, we're gonna fucking push through.
Gonna go DBZ trunks on your ass. Spirit sword, bitch.
This thing, get his ass! Yes!
I'm so goated.
Oh,
Oh, that's so tough!
that is so fucking sick. That is so sick. What the fuck?
The water's so
Trunks
blue,
trained me.
goddamn.
R.I.P. sword.
No more sword.
Oh, this is awesome! Wait, that's a whole new map.
So we just got now.
That is just a whole new map. Oh shit, we just got a wipe on the zero.
What?
Oh, cinematic.
Jones!
He's still alive.
The mission has failed.
Our enemies were one step ahead of us the whole time. We got a problem here.
No.
Actually,
Oh no.
Wait, what?
No!
What the fuck?
What?
heaven may still prove
What?
to me. I fear that cannot be said for you, Agent Jones.
Wait, that's how we knew that.
Holy shit!
What?
God.
Yo.
What?
For the first time in Fortnite's history, we've got a brand new map in the middle of a chapter. We have moved from the Golden Coast to the Shattered Coast, and for the very first time, we have Geno. No Shapeless Man, no Ageless, this is actual Geno, working with the Dark Voyager behind our backs as the Visitor the entire time, in one of the most insane plot twists this game has ever had, wrapping up the first half of the chapter with my favourite live event of all time. And that's the wrap on Season 2. This season really flew by. Yes, this season did have its flaws, but my god I loved it. The new mechanics, the battle pass, the rivalry system, the gunplay, everything about Battle Royale was so much fun, even if at times it was a little bit stale. And in the same way that I enjoyed Season 1 and 2, I hope you enjoyed watching. Stay tuned for Part 2. Thank you for watching.